Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Solo ReacTalk. Today I'm going to be reacting to the Emperor's 10,000, the Adeptus Custodes. It's called the Introduction to the Adeptus Custodes Warhammer 40K lore made by Baldermort's Guide to Warhammer. Yes, this is one of my favorite factions in the Warhammer Imperium of Man nation or empire. You know, I really like the Adeptus Custodes. I like the fact that they're not filled with drama. You know, you would never hear any bad news about these guys, really. You'd always hear bad news about the Primarchs, about the Astartes, you know, betraying the Emperor, betraying the mission to spread the Imperial truth. You know, you never hear anything bad or ill-willed against the Custodes. They're cool. They are silent. They only speak if it is truly necessary under the commands of their emperor. Otherwise, they're just perfect bodyguards, perfect super beings, bodyguards that I would also trust. Not these Primarchs, not the Astartes. No, it's these guys. These guys. Okay, let's start. 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome, gentle listener. I am Baldermort, and I wish to introduce to you the factions of the Warhammer 40K universe. Today, let us explore the faction known as the Golden Legion, the Emperor's bodyguards, the Adeptus Custodes. I will lean on existing wisdom before I get to the heart of the matter. To quote, the Adeptus Custodes, renowned as the Brotherhood of Demigods, the Golden Legion, and a host of other titles, the Custodian Guard, the Guardians, the Watchers of the Throne, the Thousand Companions, the 10,000, but most commonly known as the Custodians. They are the guardians of the Imperial Palace and the Golden Throne, as well as being the personal bodyguard to the Emperor. Due to the vast size of the Imperial Palace, the Custodes always act as a defensive army. Together with the Sisters of Silence, they represent the talons of the Emperor, being the right hand of the Emperor. It is the Adeptus Custodes that decide who may enter the throne room of the Emperor.
Okay, since the custodians are the right hand of the Emperor, who is the left hand of the Emperor? Is it the Sisters of Silence, or is it another faction in the Imperium of Man that is the left hand of the Emperor? I'm wondering about that.
And when. Such is their authority in this matter that Space Marines and Inquisitors must kneel before them. Custodians are the mightiest of mankind's warriors.
Wait, even Inquisitors? I understand the Astartes, right? You know, kneeling before Custodians, but Inquisitors as well? Oh, that's cool. That is so cool. Because I know that the Inquisitors, they have like carte blanche, free access to all institutions within the Imperium of Man. They answer to no one but the Emperor. And yeah, I just find that quite interesting that even they must kneel to a custodian. That just shows the kind of power these 10,000 or 1,000 golden armor men in suits have in the Imperium of Man. So if they have this kind of, should I say, respect and power and authority, right? Why, or maybe they do, but I'm asking, like, why don't they influence government policy in the Imperium of Man? Because, you know, the Emperor is like in a comatose state. He can't really perform his stately functions, you know, as the Emperor. So as stand-in stewards, why can't the custodians, you know, act as government officials or head of state officials within the Imperium of Man to make sure that the Imperium of Man doesn't slide deeper into darkness? I'm just asking.
They are to the Space Marines what those transhuman warriors are to common guardsmen, an elevated elite whose raw strength and willpower are wholly insurmountable. The Adeptus Custodes were known originally as the Legio Custodes, or Custodian Guard. The original Custodians were the first genetically and psychologically altered warriors to appear in the Emperor's armies during the Terran Unification Wars, where they served as the Emperor's personal bodyguard. The original recruits...
I mean, like, imagine you're that old. It's been, what, 10,000 years? Imagine. Humans born in 10,000 years later, during the Imperium of Man of the 40K millennium, don't know anything about what happened in the 30th millennium, in the 31st millennium. They don't know how Earth looked like, but these guys did. These guys were with the Emperor. They walked with the Emperor. They fought with the Emperor. Nowadays, in the 40th millennium, people just think that the God Emperor is a myth, or he's just some being in the warp, probably, you know. They don't really know that this guy actually exists, and he's actually on Terra, on the home planet, and on the capital, Imperial Palace, you know. It must be amazing. And the amount of knowledge these individuals have. Now I'm asking myself, why didn't they help to maintain the Imperium of Man in terms of technological advancement? I'm sure they are well astute in education, in literature, in IT or technology based, you know, infrastructure. I'm sure these guys are well versed in all of these things, and science and biology and you know, mechanical engineering, everything. They must be knowing something, these guys. So why don't they help out in terms of re-education of the Imperium of Man?
The Custodes were from the offspring of Terran nobility. The first known appearance of the Custodes was early in the Unification Wars during the fall of techno-barbarian fortress of Nassau. However, the origins of the Custodian Guard are shrouded in myth and legend. During the Great Crusade, the Custodes always kept a contingent with the Emperor for his protection, but also travelled individually as envoys. The Emperor valued the Custodians above all his other warriors, and while he was willing to expend countless of his servants, he always hesitated to bleed his Praetorians. Since the Emperor's interment in the Golden Throne, the Adeptus Custodes have taken a more limited role as protectors of the Imperial Palace, as ordered by Rebut Guilliman during his reorganization of the Imperium. The Custodes were equipped with the best...
The Primarch Rebut Guilliman? Okay, I didn't know he had authority over the Custodians to do that. Yeah, I thought the Custodians only answer to the Emperor. And if the Emperor is not saying anything, then they won't be obeying the commands of some upstart like a Primarch. I know people are saying that, you know, the Emperor loves his children, the Primarchs, and, you know, they're his favorite creations and everything, and they're meant to be superior to the Custodians, but I just don't see it. I don't see it. I don't feel it, you know. I don't know, maybe I'm just too biased and I'm too blinded by my love for the Custodians, and maybe that's why. But I just find it quite interesting that, you know, they would obey the commands of a Primarch in terms of protecting the Emperor in the Imperial Palace. Well, that is still their duty, but I'm just saying they could have also done many other things. Like I've said before, why didn't they involve themselves more into the government structure of the Imperium of Man? But yeah, it's interesting that they obeyed the commands of a Primarch.
Power armor of the age, and had access to the most highly advanced weaponry and vehicles of the Imperium, including designs that were not permitted to the Space Marine legions. After the end of the Horus Heresy and the enthronement of the Emperor, the Custodes were said to have changed the colour of their cloaks from red to black to symbolize the darkness that had fallen over their order. By the end of the 41st millennium, with the appearance of Rebut Guilliman, the Custodes abandoned their shrouds of shame and were seen again wearing their traditional red garments. End quote. Since before the Imperium was born, we have been at the Emperor's side. We fought next to him in the wars of unification against the ravening hordes of techno-barbarians for the very soul of Holy Terror. We fought next to him during the Great Crusade, when his power reached across the stars, freeing humanity.
Are those custodians flying? Or do they have some sort of jetpacks like the Astartes? Maybe. Yeah, I'm thinking those are jetpacks. Because I know that, custodians are not psionic, right? They're not warp sensitive like other human beings. They are just like melee combat fighting, uh, genetically engineered soldiers, right? They don't have any kind of affinity to the warp like other people do. That's why they need the Sisters of Silence to also nullify anyone with warp sensitive abilities. Yeah.
From the depredations of Xenos, mutant, psyker, and demon alike. We fought next to him in the webway, while the Imperial Palace was besieged and all looked lost. We never doubted. Forever has the Emperor of Man been our inspiration as well as our Lord, and ever have we been there to protect him and to enforce his law and his will. We stood with him when he went to deal with the heretic Horus Lupercal, but in this, our darkest hour, he was separated from us and fought the arch-traitor alone. He was triumphant, though his body was destroyed that day, but never his mind or his mighty soul. So we have protected him through all the long years of his Imperium. But we do not just guard his ravaged body, we also protect his honor, his peace, and his secrets. For many things were taken during the Crusade, things that could not be destroyed, yet could not be left to roam free. So too with beings and people in Xenos. Some even the mighty Emperor could not destroy, yet their foulness could not be allowed free reign. And so we have guarded these things in his palace also. During the moments of terror, the moments of darkness when the Cicatrix Maledictum opened, some of these things escaped from their cells. We do not know how. All we know is that we will find them and take them back into our custody.
Okay, I guess that's another job that they have. Instead of only protecting the Emperor, they're also, collecting many of these monsters or artifacts that were set free by something or by someone. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, at least they have another job. But really, I want more from them. I want more involvement of the custodians in human society. Yeah, they can't be so reclusive and just kept protecting the Imperial Palace. At least maybe make like a squad of one, or not one, but like 2 or 3 custodians traveling the galaxy, doing something. I don't know, just get that experience, that information, so that you are acclimatized to the rest of the galaxy. Should any threat come, at least they will have some basic knowledge about what's going on, how they can deal with the situation. I'm just thinking that maybe these guys have been secluded in that palace for too long. I want them to be out there, being the emissary or fighting against orcs or Eldari or Tau or the demons from the warp. They gotta do something.
For him, for the Emperor. We are the Adeptus Custodes, the Golden Legion, the custodians of the Emperor and his Imperium. And if our lives are asked as payment for this unbelievable honor, we will think it meager payment indeed. For he is the Emperor of mankind. He is our Lord. He is our Master. And he is the salvation of the human race. And in this galaxy of horrors, without him, humanity cannot survive.
Okay guys, that was the introduction to the Adeptus Custodes Warhammer 40K lore by Baldermort's Guide to Warhammer. Yes, I love, like I've said before, I love the Custodians. They are my faction. And I've also now learned that even the Inquisition need to respect this faction. They need to bow down to the Custodians. If they ever want to have an audience with the Emperor or even entering into the palace, they must follow the rules of the Custodians. And even with the not the Primarchs, the Astartes, and their like leadership structures, like the highest ranking officers, even they need to kneel to the Custodians because they are the Emperor's protectors. You know, they are that powerful as well, in intellect and in strength. So definitely, it's very, very impressive, and also cool for me that I got to hear about that. And like I've said before, I think that the Custodians need to, you know, spread out a bit more across the galaxy. You know, yeah. But guys, this was great. This was really great. If you like the video, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos, and I will see you next time. Okay? Bye bye.